If you're an English learner with a full time job, you don't necessarily need more study hours. You just need an advanced communication routine. This is especially the case if you're already at one of the intermediate levels of English, being B1 or B2. In this video, I'll show you how to get to the advanced level just by using the time that you're already spending at work. And if you're new here, welcome to ARC English. We help professionals go from intermediate to advanced in English by working smarter and not necessarily harder. And also keep in mind that the three methods that I'm going to show you in today's video are going to really be for the people who work jobs that require English communication. So if you work a job that doesn't require any English at all whatsoever, then these three methods might not be applicable to you. Now, the first method involves passive to active email auditing. Now, most professionals, after working at the same place for a long time, actually get into the routine of using the same basic sentences in every single email that they compose, especially people who don't speak English as a first language. So, all active email auditing is just simply taking some of those basic and repetitive phrases that you use when you write emails and just think about how you can make at least one of them or more of them better. It can be as easy as, instead of starting the email with hello, which is a very neutral way to greet someone, maybe you can use a different type of greeting that is a little bit more warm in some situations or a little bit more formal in some situations. For example, for more formal situations, you could use good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. In less formal situations, you can use hey or hey, how's it going, etc. Instead of saying a basic sentence like I'll get back to you, you could say something like I'll get back to you with an update by this date or this time. You could just be a little bit more specific and a little bit more clear. Or instead of saying thanks for the help, you could say I truly appreciate the collaboration. Now, these are just examples. You should definitely pay attention to the context. If it's just your colleague who sits beside you, maybe you don't need to be that formal. But if it's a brand new client and you want to make a certain impression, then maybe your email will be a little bit more formal. So you will know the context better than I would, but just try to use alternatives and try to exercise different ways of saying the same repetitive things that you tend to say on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. The next method involves industry immersion, which can be done with a simple 5-minute drill with LinkedIn. Now, this is an observation technique, but not any basic observation technique like watching movies in English. This is an observation technique of the most advanced English communicators that you can find on LinkedIn. So don't just scroll LinkedIn to read the news about your industry for your profession or your career. Actually go on LinkedIn and look at some of the comments that are being made by industry leaders in your particular industry. Look at how they express themselves, how they convey themselves with nuance, what type of terminology they use, and you'll actually be able to learn a lot. Because keep in mind that most of the people who are at high executive level positions in the industries that you work in tend to deal with people globally, and they tend to be pretty well trained when it comes to English communication. Even as a native English speaker myself, I'm impressed by the level of English of some of these executives overseas who don't speak English as a first language. They actually learned English to such an advanced level where their English is actually better than a lot of native English speakers. And this observation works really well because this is actually real world English. This isn't the Avengers movie where they're talking about things that are not real, that are completely fictional. This is real world English and real world commentary about subjects in your specific industry. So, for example, if you're someone who tends to use the word deserve, let's just say, this person deserves this person deserves that. And then you see someone comment on LinkedIn saying this person merits this, then you might just pay attention to them using the word merit instead of the word deserved in a more formal context. Now, if you don't speak English as a first language, and if you're not aware of the difference between words that are used more formally versus words that are used more neutrally or informally, just by reading through LinkedIn posts, you're going to be able to pick this up for many different words and many different expressions. Deserve and merit is just one of many examples. Also, if you need to improve your English for work related purposes, we will very soon be releasing customized training programs based on your profession and your career goals. If you want to learn more, I'll leave a link somewhere in the pinned comment or the description below. And the third method comes down to using the shadowing technique, but specifically using it for industry related media. Now, the basic way that intermediate learners use the shadowing technique is they'll just find a video about anything on YouTube, TikTok, or any platform, and then they'll simply just try to repeat what the person is saying after they say it. But if you want shadowing to be more productive and actually get more results out of it that you can apply to the real world in your specific profession or your specific industry, then you should be shadowing the industry leaders in your particular field, especially when they're communicating in English. Maybe it's an interview on YouTube or a keynote speech that they're giving, but you should find industry leaders who communicate in fluent English and emulate the way that they communicate. Because again, the executives in most, if not all industries, tend to communicate in very intentional ways and very advanced ways when it comes to commuting in the English language. So, for example, if you are in the finance industry, you can listen to someone like Warren Buffett communicate. You can watch any of the interviews by him or his partner, Charlie Munger, and you can see how they communicate and how they convey ideas about your particular industry. So, to recap these three methods, the first one is active email auditing, which is very easy. Just try to change one or two things about the emails you typically send. Just try to make them a little bit better each time that you send an email. Better does not necessarily mean more formal. Better could just mean use and exercise alternative or better ways to communicate something more clearly. The second method is the industry immersion method, which is very easy to use just by going through LinkedIn. Just be mindful and pay attention to how the industry leaders in your industry communicate and convey ideas. And the third method is shadowing, but shadowing specifically and intentionally for industry related English material. All three of these methods are very complementary things to do during a workday for your particular job in your particular industry. If you like to better your English for work related purposes, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more content like this. And be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know where you're from, what your native language is, and what you do as a profession. I'm always very curious to know. And if you want to learn more advanced communication techniques in English, especially if you're a professional, be sure to check out the framework in the next video on the screen.